Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford's EDC, and today we're taking a look at the Orion Knives Cetus. This is a knife that was totally off my radar until it showed up in the pass-around group. You can see this beautiful wood laid on top of a black-coated frame and blade here. This is a budget piece, with this version I believe being $75 and the G10 versions being $65. You can see this in 14C28N, and this has this beautiful burl wood. I cannot remember what kind of burl this is off the top of my head, but it is very pretty. It looks very nice on top of the black, and you have nice set on both sides. The bronzed spacer here, or copper-esque spacer, looks very nice. Complements the wood nicely, complements the black nicely here. You have a deep carry clip with recessed screws, and that is swappable. You can see the screws right here and the little slot for the clip. And you have a nice forward canted Warncliffe style blade. Super utilitarian, allows you to get down on the surface for fine cuts. And this forward curved shape would make this, if you needed to use this in a self-defense situation, this gives you a little extra reach on a slash or something similar to that. And this also works great too when you're just cutting material, because if you start something at the base here, you can follow that cut and keep the blade mostly straight. There's been blades forever that have a portion like this, and they are useful. They certainly provide some utility. Opening this knife, you have the opening hole, the fuller, and the flipper tab. Flipper tab is located relatively low on this knife, but it does work pretty great. You can see I slipped off of it there. It works pretty good. The action's pretty nice on this as well. You can see that flipper works just fine. It is kind of small, so the jimping on it works well. You just have to make sure you don't slide off of it. And you can pull straight down and get that deployed. You can get to this thumb hole with your thumb. It's a little bit tight, but it is possible. And you do sometimes put a little bit of pressure on this lock bar, but it's pretty easy to avoid given the pocket clip and the overlays. The centering on this is no bueno. Not good. I don't know what it is. I haven't messed with it, but it's not rubbing anywhere. The pivot's tight, so it's just a little off. Not sure what's going on with that, but you can see I can just put a little pressure and it goes to center, then it drifts a little bit to the other side, and after an opening and a closing, this will be back off center. But that could just be this example. Someone could have messed with this one. Don't expect them all to be that way for sure. Reverse flick, you can get into that hole, and I can hear the dogs barking, so I'm going to have to make this nice and quick. You can flick off that fuller as well, so that is an option. Ergonomically speaking, anytime you have this kind of a curve in a handle, it's going to end up fitting a hand pretty well, as long as this internal space is not too cramped. And in this case, it's not. It's very, very neutral. You have a little bit of an upsweep here, and then you have a little bit of a guard built in here, and that keeps this very comfortable in hand. I wear a large size glove, and you can see how this fits me. My thumb lands right on that jimping, which is a little light for my liking, but it's aggressive enough to grab your thumb. And this locks right in. You could also go for a hammer style grip, and this locks in nicely as well. Not really feeling that pocket clip at all, and you could just put this thing to work. This has a nice tall flat grind, so it gets to a pretty thin edge. Not like amazingly razor thin, but nice and thin, and it gets very slicey because of that. And I know I just said it has a flat grind, and now I'm looking at it, and I think it's a very shallow hollow grind. It's tough to tell, and you guys are not going to really be able to see it either. I will try and show it off, but it's difficult to see. But it might be a very slight hollow grind, or it's a tall flat grind, one of the two. Either way, it cuts really nicely. There's not a whole lot to say about this. I have one really big complaint, which is this lock bar. It is very stiff, and there is no access to it. You can see how it's settled on this side. Not really a big deal. But in this dimension here, this is your only additional access to that lock bar. And really all that is it helps you get to the hole. You can use that little area there, but it's not really great. It works, but it's not perfect. I would have liked to see more cutout done to get to that lock bar, and maybe a little bit less lock bar pressure, maybe a more chamfered edge in there, something like that. It just isn't the most comfortable lock bar to use. I find myself slipping a lot. Jimping on lock bars tends to be a weird thing that not many people like or need, but I think this really could have benefited from it. Overall, though, the design's nice, the utility is there, and it fits my hand really well, and it cuts really well. Excuse the puppy here, who is making all sorts of noise, aren't you? Huh? You're a good girl. All right, but anyway, so to wrap things up before this gets out of hand, this is the Orion knife Cetus. It's a pretty interesting piece. It's certainly not everyone's cup of tea design-wise, but this combination of materials looks really nice, and being in under $100, this is a pretty good deal for what you are getting. The action's really nice on the closing. I can't remember who the OEM is for these. I wish I could, but it's just slipping my mind right now. Regardless, it's pretty good overall and is a unique design if you're looking to add something like this to your collection. Overall, that lock bar is really my only issue with it. Other than that, this one is good to go. So, thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the Cetus down below. And I'm going to go take care of these puppies before they drive me crazy. You guys are the best. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.